They say that knowledge is power, but for a select few, ignorance is a full-time job with a very short retirement plan. Today, we aren't just looking at mistakes, we're looking at voluntary exits from the gene pool. These are the 7 dumbest Darwin Award winners. The people who turned famous last words into a competitive sport. Sit back, relax, and enjoy a front-row seat to the extinction of common sense. One imagines standing on the 24th floor of a skyscraper. Most people look at the view, but one man wanted to prove the glass was unbreakable. Why would any sane person use their own body to test industrial construction? He took a running start and slammed into the window. It held. But once wasn't enough for his ego. He took a second run, hitting the glass even harder. He was right. The glass didn't break. However, the window frame, which wasn't part of the bet, simply popped out. Is being right really worth a 300-foot drop? He plummeted to the sidewalk, still holding the perfectly intact glass. He won the argument but lost his life to a frame that didn't care about his opinion. 2. In the world of social media, people go to extremes for a cool photo. One man decided a simple selfie wasn't enough. He found a live hand grenade and thought it would be the perfect prop to make him look tough. But how far are you willing to go for a few digital likes? He didn't just hold the grenade. He pulled the safety pin to make the photo look more realistic. At what moment does a human being forget that a weapon of war isn't a fashion accessory? He stood there, smiling for the lens, while holding a literal countdown in his hand. He was waiting for the perfect light, but the fuse was waiting for nothing. The grenade did exactly what it was designed to do. He got his final shot, but he wasn't around to post it. 3. Imagine looking at a machine that hums loud enough to shake your teeth and thinking, I can take that. This person broke into a power station to steal copper wire for a few dollars. Does the human brain simply stop working when a quick paycheck is on the line? They ignored every high-voltage sign just to play a game of life or death with a transformer. With a metal saw in one hand and a total lack of common sense in the other, they reached for the prize. The moment the metal touched the wire, the electricity didn't see a thief. It saw a shortcut. There was no warning and no second chance. They wanted to harvest some scrap metal, but they ended up being the only thing harvested that day. 4. Checking for a gas leak is usually a job for a professional, but some people prefer a more explosive DIY approach. Picture a dark garage and a person who can't see the fuel level inside their car. Instead of reaching for a flashlight, they reach for a cigarette lighter. Why would anyone use a small fire to inspect a tank full of liquid fire? They flicked the flame and leaned in close to get a better look at the fumes. Is a moment of curiosity really worth a lifetime of consequences? The gas tank did exactly what science says it should do. There was no time to learn from the mistake, only an immediate reaction. They didn't fix the car, but they did ensure they'd never have to worry about a gas bill again. Nature has a very loud way of correcting mistakes. 5. Buying cheap gear online is always a gamble, but some people are willing to bet their lives on a discount price tag. A group of friends bought a bulletproof vest from a random website and decided to test it right away. At what point does trusting a product turn into a total death wish? Instead of putting the vest on a tree or a dummy, one of them volunteered to wear it. They stood against a wall while a friend aimed a loaded gun at their chest. How do several grown adults all agree that this is a smart way to spend a Friday night? The trigger was pulled, and the bargain vest failed instantly. They learned the hard way that bullet-resistant is not the same as bulletproof. They wanted an answer, and they got one. It was just the last lesson they would ever learn. 6. Waiting for an elevator is annoying, but most people don't try to break the building. After a man missed his ride, he decided that ramming the doors with his wheelchair was the best way to get moving. Why would anyone think that winning a fight against a metal door is a good idea? He backed up and slammed into the elevator 3 times until the hinges finally snapped. He was so focused on being angry that he forgot how elevators actually work. Is a short wait really worth a 50-foot drop into the dark? The doors gave way, and he charged forward into a completely empty shaft. He finally got to the bottom, but he didn't need the elevator to get there. Gravity did all the work for him. 7. Making a smoothie is a healthy habit, but fighting a high-speed motor is a terrible idea. A person filled a blender with frozen fruit, but the thick mixture jammed. What makes a brain believe that shoving a metal butter knife into a spinning vortex of razors is a brilliant life hack? Instead of simply unplugging the machine, they kept the power running and stabbed blindly into the jam. Did they actually expect the violent blades to politely yield to their cutlery? The motor instantly caught the steel knife, violently shattering the glass pitcher into 1,000 flying pieces. They wanted a quick breakfast, but they rapidly turned their own kitchen into a high-speed shrapnel zone. It was a very sharp, very sudden lesson in basic survival. If you enjoyed this clinical study of terminal overconfidence, do the right thing and hit that subscribe button. Drop a comment below and tell us which of these 6 was the most ambitious. And remember, the laws of physics aren't just a good idea. They're the law. Stay smart, stay alive, and I'll see you in the next one.